Morning, everyone. How are you this morning? It is Monday, March the 2nd. We're getting closer to spring. I'm pretty excited because I am not a fan of winter. So it is, Monday, March the 2nd. It's Make a Card Monday. So today I am making a card and I am using the Capturing Smiles bundle. It's a new bundle coming out soon. I forget what day it comes out, to be honest with you. I think it's next Tuesday, but I could be wrong on that. But it comes out very soon. And I'm also following along with the Global Design Project Challenge because it is a color challenge. I love color challenges because it often leads me to use colors that I don't normally pull for, which it definitely did today. So before I start on that, I just want to mention that today is the last day to get the exclusive join offer and get that positioner tool for free. So if you're interested in getting that tool, let me know and I can tell you how to get that. It's not available for purchase right now. I'm guessing, they haven't told us, but I'm guessing it will be in the new annual catalog. Actually, they're not having an annual catalog. They're having just 3 catalogs throughout the year, which I think is much more streamlined and a lot better. But that new catalog comes out in April, the end of April, beginning of May. And I'm thinking that this would be available for sale in there, but we haven't heard for sure. That's just my guess. So right now, the only way that you can get this tool is if you join, and they will give it to you for free. So that today is the last day for that. So if you're interested, let me know and I can help you out with that. And today also is the first day for our new product of the month. And it's a super cute, I love this, Notes of Spring. I love this little deer. I'm definitely gonna have to get this one. Super cute. But that you can get for $5 when you purchase $100 worth of product here in Canada. The amounts are different in the different countries, but in Canada you spend $100 and you get it for $5. Okay, so just had to grab a little drink. So I am doing the color challenge, and this week the color challenge is Melon Mambo, Granny Apple Green, and Secret Sea. Let me tell you, Secret Sea is becoming one of my new favorite colors. At first I was like, oh, it's so similar to black, but it's quite a bit different. It's kind of a bluey black. Well, bluey gray, kind of, really. This is our two-tone cardstock, so you can see this is the true color of it, and then the back has that lighter color. So we're going to use a bit of both of those today. And it did, the color challenge helped me to pull in colors that I wouldn't normally use. Definitely the Granny Apple Green is not a color that I pull for very often at all. Melon Mambo once in a while, depending on my project. But Granny Apple Green, not so often. So we're going to be using those 3 colors today. And we're going to be using Capturing Smiles. So as I mentioned, this is a new one that's come out. I believe it's an online exclusive. Yeah, an online exclusive, which means it's just not in a catalog. You just have to go online, just type in Capturing Smiles. It won't come up today because it's not available yet, but next week. I'm pretty sure next week it'll be available. Okay, what do we want to start with? I think we'll start, I'm gonna make like, I'm gonna create my own DSP. So we are going to use the smallest little camera here, and we're going to stamp that in Melon Mambo. This is a super old ink pad. So I've had this ink pad. It was one of the first ones that I bought. So it's close to 20 years old. It's 15 to 20 years old. It still works fantastic. So this is the current stamp pad design. And we're actually coming out with new stamp pad designs, which I am excited for. They're much easier to open. And if you follow close to my heart, or used to follow them when they were open, we are using their ink pad design. Our colors, but our ink pad design, and their ink pad design, and it's magnetic. So you just open the top straight up. There's no flipping it like this. You just open the top off and your ink pad is there. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a piece of white, and then, oh, I need a scrap piece. I forgot to grab that. I'll just use this. So I made this card this morning, designed it this morning, and I'm going to do this one just a smidge different, and then you can see which one you like better. Looks like my internet is maybe not working the best, so I apologize if it's not. So I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to do like second generation stamping just to make my background a little bit lighter. I did full strength on the card that I made this morning. So when we get this done, then you can have a look and see which one you think looks better. I got that camera a little bit crooked. It's hard when I'm not right over top of the card. Not right over top of like what I'm stamping. It's really hard to get it straight. Get that little bit. I think we have a little bit right there. I forgot to stamp that one off, but luckily I didn't ink it up super dark, so it looks okay. It doesn't stand out like crazy, luckily. So I think it's fun to create your own DSP, and then it matches your project perfectly. It doesn't take too long. So our new ink pads will be debuting with, our new ink colors. So they announced the colors. I'll have to post them. I haven't posted them yet. I don't remember what they're all called. There's a green and a blue and a really super light pink and like a peachy color. And what else? Because that's only 4. I say green. I forget what all. They're really nice, soft pastel colors. And they will be debuting the new ink pad design. So it'll only be available in those new ink colors until I think for a year. And then after that, then they will be coming out with all of the colors in that new ink pad. So it's kind of nice. They'll stack nicely. I did read that they will work in the current storage, the white block storage. I've heard that it will work in there. They are a little bit narrower than these current ones, a little bit narrower and a little bit longer. But they will still fit in our current storage system, which is really nice. You don't have to go out and get all new storage. I'm not sure. I might have to because I still have the super, super old spinny storage. So I don't think they're going to work in there. These ones were close enough in size that I could make it work. They're almost the same. So I could make it work, but I don't think I'll be able to make these new ones work. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll have to get new storage, I guess. Okay, so I have grabbed, I think we'll do this part next because I have to spritz it with water. So we want it to kind of have a little bit of time to dry. I am using this new embossing folder, and I forgot to look up the name. And it's a 3D embossing folder, and you just have to be a little bit careful with it because it's super easy to rip your paper, especially thin paper, which our two-tone cardstock is a bit thinner than our regular cardstock. So I find what works best is I've just got water in here, and just to lightly spritz your paper. That was maybe a bit much, we shall see. And that just helps it to, well, bend a little better and not rip as much. So this two-tone cardstock is white in the center. So I'm going to pull in my emboss machine. So you will see, oh, I don't have my correct cutting plate. So you will see once I emboss it that the white will show through. Gives it a bit of a rustic look. I really liked it for this card. If you are not a fan of that white core showing through, then you could just use our standard cardstock because there's no white in the center. The color goes all the way through. So you could use that if you prefer. Put that back down for the time being. We're going to bring it back in a little bit. It's just stuck to the top. There we go. So you just have to be really gentle with it. I don't know, this one seems, this embossing folder seems to be really, really super 3D. I've just got that wet. I'll just use my sweater. I went to wipe off my mat before I went live and I forgot. So I would not take my tape runner and run that down because it would definitely rip it. I'm going to use glue dots for that. All right, so we could put that down. I'm going to bring in my card base. I'm just using a standard size white card base. So standard size is like half a sheet of cardstock. So it is cut at 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to take some dimensionals and put those on the back. So I have the darker side up for this one, for this layer. Yep, very gentle because I actually don't think I put enough water because the one that I made this morning didn't rip all the way through. I'm just going to put that on a bit of an angle. If you don't like the angles, you can go ahead and just put that on straight. And then this layer will be on straight. And that I'm going to use my seal adhesive. That's a bit more adhesive than I would normally use, but because we have all that embossing on there, I like to use a little bit extra. the base layer of our card. Next, we are going to take the large camera image and we are going to stamp that on white. I forgot to grab just a scrap piece of white. Here we go. And we're going to stamp that in Secrecy. I just have a Stampin' Spot that I've got in, I don't know, one of my kits or one of the paper pumpkin kits, one of the card kits. But it works great. So we're going to ink that image up. There we go. And we're going to stamp that onto some white cardstock. And I think this is the only other thing I have to run through. I did cut out a bunch of things ahead of time, so you're gonna have to watch me do all of that. But there is a die cut for this image, so I'm just going to line that up. I think looks good. I have just a little piece of Post-it tape that I'm going to use to hold that in place. I'm going to bring back in my cutting and emboss machine. So for our dies, you're going to use the thick embossing plate, or the thick standard plate, and then you're going to have number 2, and you're going to have a cutting plate. You're going to put that die cut down, and then you're going to grab your top cutting plate and run that through. That sandwich is the same for all of our dies. So there we've got our little camera, and then I have already done this image here. Pull this in to show. So then I want my shutter on here. So I'm gonna grab a block and my shutter, and I'm gonna ink that up in Secrecy. I'm just going to make sure it's inked up really, really well because I want it nice and dark. You could probably even use black for this stamp as well. And I'm going to stamp that right in the center here. Just hold that down for a couple seconds and let all of that ink transfer over onto your paper. Oh, perfect. That looks so good. Oh, I did this on the wrong thing. Goodness, that's why I didn't have white. It's not supposed to be on white. It is supposed to be on the Secrecy. So we shall do that again. Goodness. Real life stamping here. Forgot what I was doing. That's what I had this extra little scrap here for. So we'll ink this up again. I hadn't bothered to clean it yet. Okay, try again. So I'll just have to run it through again too. So I'm doing this on the lighter side of the Secrecy, just to give a little bit of contrast between this and our camera. Okay. So now I'll pull back in my cutting die. Line that up. And that looks pretty good. Stick that down with our Post-it tape. And then I've got to pull this back in. Put our cutting plate on top and we shall run that through. There we go. And that's going to layer on top. So I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. Oh. So on Instagram, someone had colored this camera in with secrecy, and it looks so pretty. She did an amazing job. I forget now who it was. So I have cut out this die right here, this one. I find it easier to cut this out first and then stamp it rather than the other way around. It's just easier to get it lined up. So I'm just cleaning off my shutter there. We're done with that one. And then I'm stamping with this little circle. So I tried a couple times stamping this first and then die cutting it, but I just couldn't get my die lined up properly. So I find it much easier to die cut first and then stamp over top. So if you are having trouble with your dies, give that a try. With our photopolymer stamps, it makes it so much easier to line those up than when we had red rubber. Okay, sorry if my head's in the way there. I just want to get that lined up nice and straight. There we go. And I'm going to use some mini dimensionals for this one. And then that's going to go over top of this. There we go. Before we adhere this, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon in that little hole. So I have some of the bordered open weave ribbon in Secret C. So when I did this morning, it wasn't too hard to get through. We'll see how it goes live. Oh, not too bad. Goes through that open weave ribbon, because it's so soft, it was pretty easy to get through that little hole. So I'm just going to trim that end because I kind of pulled it when I was pulling it through. And trim this end. And then I pulled in some twine. This is retired, so it was just in my stash. I think this is actually, I think it was called Certainly Celery. I think that's the color. I could be wrong because it's super old. So I'm just going to wrap that around and tie a bow with that. There we go. Shorten those little loops up a little bit. There. Get those just quite how I like. And we're going to trim this off. We'll go about there. That's pretty long, isn't it? It's always nice when you can use up things in your stash. Okay, so that is going to go there. before I adhere that down, I have went ahead and stamped from Paradise Garden. I did this little leaf image. So the images on the front of the stamp set aren't necessarily the same size as the stamps themselves. These ones are quite a bit larger. So there's the image there. And you can see it's quite a bit larger than what it shows on the front of the package. So that is just something to keep in mind. So I have stamped those. I stamped 2 of those in Granny Apple Green and then die cut them out. I did stamp off and then stamp these so they would be a bit lighter because Granny Apple Green is a pretty bold color. So those 2 are going to layer like that. So I'm going to use a couple of these blue dots that I got in my paper pumpkin last month that I didn't use all up. And then a couple dimensionals here. Get the backings off of there. So that one's going to go up towards the top there. And then the same with this one. So if you saw my post, I believe that was Saturday, or maybe it was Friday. Now I forget. I think it was Friday. Of my our Instagram hop with the design team, the artisan design team. I went live on it. I think it was Friday, and I used this bundle. It's becoming a quick favorite of mine. I absolutely love it. All right, so now we can put our camera down. And I'm going to put some dimensionals, one kind of on each end, because we already have a couple layers of dimensionals in the center with our circle here. So I want to keep my dimensionals to either side, just to kind of even it out. If you happen to be mailing it, is a little bit better to have it not quite so thick. This one's going to be pretty thick anyhow, but there we go. And then, what else? Oh, I cut out a few of these hearts from the die set, and I cut those in Granny Apple Green cardstock. Got 3 of those. Actually, we'll turn those over. I'm just going to use these little blue dots on those. That white on the back is just where I've embossed something on there and then didn't end up using it. So I'm going to take the backings off of those. I'm going to just tuck that. Maybe I'll put it down here. And there. I'll put one right over top. And then one more down here. It's nice to do odd numbers. It's more pleasing to the eye when you use odd numbers. And then I have stamped the Love This Smile. I stamped that in Granny Apple Green full strength, and then I just fussy cut just the smile out. I find that this one is probably more geared towards scrapbooking, but I wanted to use it on a card to show you that you can use it for both. So I just cut around that Love This so that I just had the smile. I think that is nice on a card. I'm going to use these glue dots again. Oops, I missed. There we go. Get those little backings off. And I just did on the S, the L, and the E. Because that's all, actually, maybe I think I did it straight on the last one. Go straight. My glue dot is a little bit big for my E, so I'm just kind of tucking the extra little bit in behind so that you can't see it through. And I pulled in the Hues of Blue flowers. I like these. We have Secret Sea, Misty Moonlight, Cloud Cover, and white up at the top there. I think they are super cute little flowers. And I've used quite a few of my Secret Sea color. None of my Cloud Cover. Oh, that one upside down. There we go. And then I'm going to add one little white one up here. There we go. So I told you I'd show you the one that I designed this morning. See what you think looks better. So this one I did the Melon Mambo in full strength, and this one I stamped off to make it a little bit lighter. I don't know. I kind of thought I would like this better, but now I'm not sure now that I've got it done. I like the full strength color of Melon Mambo. The shade of it, I really like it. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like it in the full strength? Or do you like it stamped off? So thanks so much for watching my video today, and I will be back on Wednesday with a scrapbooking layout using this bundle. So have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.